Sibling rivalry. The things your siblings did to you or you did to them, and for whatever reason, it's just because you're kids. You don't get in a lot of trouble. Normally just a stern talking to from your parents.
Sometimes not even that.
I once leathered my younger brother and put him in a suitcase and put him under the bed. From memory, I think it was about an hour before he was let out/found. He did get me back a few years later, not once but twice. Once knocking me out by throwing a Thundercat toy from the top of the stairs.
Oh, Lionel.
Cracks me right in the forehead. The second was when he stabbed me on the arm with a pencil for farting on his rice bubbles at breakfast. I didn't. The scar on my arm also meant that the school wouldn't give me the tuberculosis jab because they thought I'd already had it. My older brother used to put me on top of the fridge when I was annoying because I couldn't get down without him.
When I was a young fella, my brother shot me with a slug gun. As were the times back then, our parents weren't home. I was about 5. The worst part was when they held me down and tried to dig it out with a set of tweezers.
Oh!
I was sworn to secrecy because he would have got an absolute hiding. After around 5 minutes, they gave up looking for the slug pellet. He is also the same brother who got me to piss on an electric fence. Growing up in the King Country. What a spot.
My brother rolled me up in a carpet and slid me down the stairs, splitting my head open. Then I bloody got in trouble for getting blood on the carpet.
We grew up on a farm in North Canterbury. One day when I was about 12 and my older brother was 15, both parents were out. We had a sliding door that opened about 2 inches even when the lock was engaged. My brother was sticking his face through it and yelling at me to unlock it for him. Eventually, when he was proper pissed off, I did. However, I didn't wait for him to move and slammed his nose in it. With blood pissing out of his face, he screamed and rage turned his face as red as the blood puddling out of his nose. I bolted. He grabbed this thing we called a slasher, which is essentially an axe handle with a machete on the end of it, used for clearing gorse, and took off after me.
Oh my God.
Luckily for me, I was much faster and had more stamina, so I ran to our front paddock with him hot on my heels. He and then led him in laps around the paddock, casually watching the road for any sign of my mum's car while he chased after me, looking and sounding like a complete psychopath. Eventually, I saw mum's car and casually jogged back to the house. My brother collapsed next to her car, exhausted, and got told off for making us both look crazy. I got off scot-free. Happy days.
My brother stabbed me with a fork on the leg at the dinner table for throwing a potato at him. My dad's granddad got tired of my dad and his brother fighting, so he got them boxing gloves and made them go for it. My dad knocked out his older brother and ended up with a hospital visit because he didn't wake up for 30 minutes. Guess what? They never fought again.
This one here finally from Tom in Scotland. I've got some good sibling rivalry stories for you. I bit my brother's nipple off when I was young. I also knocked him out cold when I hit him with a pickaxe in the head.
Pickaxe!
Also, when I was like 2, maybe 3, I was shouting for him to listen to me, and he wasn't. So I apparently hit him on the head with a hammer. But unfortunately, I don't remember that one happening, but the family told me I did so yay. My sister also got cracked his head against a door handle as well for kicking me down the stairs.
Do you reckon Tom's been to prison?
I reckon Tom's writing this from prison.
I reckon he is.
Good on you, Tom. This from Kat. My 2 eldest kids would fight non-stop. One day, my 5-year-old son was chasing his 9-year-old sister through the house. She slammed the patio door shut on his thumb, and it took off a massive chunk of flesh, pretty much the entire side of it. My 5-year-old hates the sight of blood and went into full panic attack mode, hysterically screaming. I wrapped his hand in a tea towel and was holding it up to try and stop the gushing blood when there was a knock at the door. It was a bloody courier. So I dragged my son to the door, still holding his arm up, blood running down his arm. He starts screaming hysterically to the courier guy, "Help me, I'm dying! Help me! Help me!" The courier driver saw the blood and fainted, face planting on our tile floor, splitting his head open. We lived in a really small rural town. They had to send an ambulance helicopter from the nearest big town, which was 40 minutes away.
What?
Well,
There's so much to unpack in that. My brother shot our little sister in the eye with a pea shooter gun, so I tried tearing his fringe out until he had a massive egg on his forehead, and then he fish hooked me and split the sides of my mouth.
Oh my God.
That sounds like something that would happen in my household,
I
eh?
was going to say, I reckon that could be replicated this weekend. This from Samantha Dillon, first and last name in Torquay. Hi, I love listening to your show, and I feel I can confess a story from my childhood. Well, thank you, Samantha. Our parents worked hard. They owned a bakery, and as the eldest child, I was often left to look after my little brother. One summer holiday, my mates had all gone to the beach, as you do at the age of 15. I was left at home alone with my 5-year-old brother again. I'm not sure what came over me, probably a little bit miffed, but for some reason, unbeknownst, even to this day, I told him that I was dying and I collapsed.
This'll be fun.
I collapsed onto the bathroom floor and didn't move a muscle for about 20 minutes, by which time he was absolutely hysterical with fright and I could no longer hold in my laughter. Yes, it was a horrible thing to do, I know, and he never told on me until he gave me away at my wedding, which is in 2019. I'm a great sister to him now, I promise.
That is amazing. I'll do one final one from me. I grew up on a farm down south and back in 1984. My parents were out for the evening. My brothers and I had a babysitter who was loose enough to allow us to play motorbike tag. Oh my God. The rules are pretty easy to follow. If you touch the three-wheeler motorbike when someone's riding it, you get to swap out and get to bladder around the paddock. One of my brothers was riding the motorbike and another brother was trying to tag him out. Brother on the motorbike aimed at the other brother thinking he would jump out of the way. Older brother thought brother on the motorbike would swerve. You can see where this is heading. Neck manat. Massive impact. The older brother spent 2 months in hospital, most of which saw him in traction. Lots of damage to his legs, hips, and back. The 80s.
Final one from me. This from Jody. I used to use my brother's toothbrush to scrub my dad's skid marks off the toilet. Then I'd laugh at him when he brushed his teeth. You absolute dog.